Yes, so Adhishwari Mataji, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, you want to start?
Okay. So
So
go
just
ahead.
give me a second. Sorry. Yeah, so you're starting 54, right? So Arjun's question. Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. In 54, this is when Arjuna starts asking um, whether he should fight or he's been asking whether he should fight or not, but now he's asking what a yogi would do. So someone that is Krishna conscious, what would they do in his situation? Sort of comparing himself to someone that's Krishna conscious. And it seems like it's more of a physical or external quality, but it's really, once you read into it, it's deeper than that. And because in the verse, uh, going back to the verse, he's asking about speech, like what would they say, sort of like what's their language, how do they sit and how do they move, but not really it's kind of deeper than just those physical qualities. It's more like um instead of like how someone walks, it means more like how would they walk through life with so many temptations in front of them, not really like actually moving through. um and the question of like how would a yogi sit, it's more like if you think of a yogi that is, or a Krishna conscious person that's meditating, how it's not really just them sitting, but how do they regulate their senses and restrain themselves from temptation. And so with the first question, it's it's not really like a behavior. I guess it's more of like an internal behavior. I guess that's the
Mhm.
second question, but they kind of go together. So,
Okay.
yeah, uh, it's
Okay.
kind of like the verse 54 is sort of like the question before everyone else's verses. So it's
Hmm.
kind of like he's
Hmm.
asking, like, comparing, like, myself, like, how would a yogi do this? So he
Yeah.
wants to hear what Krishna has to say to set himself up, like, maybe I'll act like that too, then, is kind of how I got it.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good explanation. Yes, because he's not talking in a literal sense. You pointed that out correctly. And where does this question come from? Because in the last verse that Krishna spoke, he uses about samadhi. Samadho achala buddhis. He's saying samadhi is somebody in transcendental consciousness. Achala means unflinching, and buddhi is intelligence. So how does a person get that fixed state of mind of self-realization? Right, so that's what Krishna is speaking. So automatically Arjun asks, okay, hey, how does that person look like? And yes, you rightly pointed out, he's not talking specifically about how does he sit or eat, but he's more in a metaphorical sense asking these questions. Okay, that's good. Let's see if Prabhupada has anything specific in the purport. Did you find anything specific in the purport, or did you cover it already? I don't know.
Um, Not really. Yeah, it was pretty much just that's pretty much what Prabhupada was saying, that it
Okay.
wasn't, it was more like it was deeper than just the physical
Yeah.
nature.
Okay. No, that's good. Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
these questions are not to be taken literally. So Arjun is still not out of his consciousness of not wanting to fight. So he suddenly hears about a transcendental person, and something in him clicks and says, hey, might be this transcendental person doesn't fight. So let me think, let me ask Krishna. Right. So these words are indicative of something bigger. So ka bhasha, what are the characteristics? How does he speak? Right. So yes. So so all those things will be brought about, and this concept of sthita pragya is only here in this chapter. It's nowhere else in the Bhagavad Gita. These are the symptoms of a self-realized persons. And the thing is that a person can. One more reason why Krishna is elaborating upon this is because he wants everybody to know that the symptoms of a self-realized person, one, they are verifiable. You can look and you can verify, yeah, this person is self-realized by these things which we are going to read. And then it's universal. It's not just meant for somebody born in India, Africa. No, it's for the whole world. You can find a self-realized person anywhere in the world by just going through these verses and see, yeah, this matches this person. So he's self-realized, right? So, and yes, Purnavasi Aji.
Actually, Arjuna is also doing us a favor because if the right questions are not asked, we cannot understand deeper of, and it wouldn't help us also on this path. So these questions was also for, in a way, to also give us that profound knowledge on
Yeah.
how Sthita Prajna is.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, Arjun is actually asking these questions on behalf of the entire humanity for generations and generations to come, right? And so we all have to pick up these direct practices so that we can feel for ourselves that we are also developing. We are becoming detached from bad habits. We are becoming more self-directing, and also we're getting insights into who we are. So that's the whole purpose of this verse. Okay, so that's 54. Let's get to 55. Who's on 55? Who was on 55? Was there somebody on 55? Where's my list? I have to go back to my list.
Yeah, it's mine, Alila.
Yes,
Anandadan, Devidasi. Anyway,
yes, ma'am.
I was confused with the question, and I was looking at the question that you asked me about
Okay.
this particular 55,
Mhm.
and I got confused, so I was not prepared for it. So I can.
You just share whatever you felt was the meaning. You can share that. It's okay. Or do you want to speak something? Yeah, please go ahead.
Like a Krishna saying Arjuna for the sense gratification. So if somebody is in a Krishna consciousness or devotional service to the Lord, has all good qualities, and that is the main thing in describing that desire of sense gratification, which all arises from the mental mind that, like, I want to be famous, I want to be rich, all this. So you are always desire for the sense gratification, but you have to be out of that. That's all I got it anyway.
Okay. So can you, and I'm not asking you to have a perfect answer, but can you think of which question is Krishna answering of Arjun's here? Is he talking about how does that person speak, or his language, or his sitting or walking? Could you think which one would he be referring to when he's answering this 54th, when he's speaking the 55th verse?
Yeah, he's answering from 54.
So 54
Arjuna is asking, about the symptoms of who is in a mode of goodness, I think. How a good person, and how does he speak? What are the symptoms of the good quality person or Krishna consciousness person?
Okay.
That's a question the Arjuna asked. Okay, what are the symptoms? And he's answering to that.
Okay. Well, let me elaborate this a bit. Okay, so the first question he's asking is ka bhasha. What is his language? Right. So where's that verse? Let me pull up that verse again.
Language.
Right. So he's saying sthita pragya ka bhasha. What is that person's language? Right. And then he says kim prabhasheta. So prabhasheta means speaks. Asita means sit. And rajeta means walk. So these are the four questions that Arjun is asking. So ka bhasha. So the question ka bhasha, and as we have been discussing, it's not a literal sense that how does he ka bhasha, what is he speaking? But it's more about that he speaks. So it's not about the sound of speech, but it's the
Right,
conscious.
exactly. I was confused about that one
Okay.
before.
That's
How
fine.
does it say it? How does it? It's just like.
So yeah, no problem, no problem. That's what we are doing here. We're just trying to
An
figure out.
analogy of that one.
Yeah. Yes. The more we dig deeper into Bhagavad Gita, the more our intelligence becomes fortified. It just makes everything crystal clear for us. So yes, no problem. It's not a sound of speech. It's the consciousness that directs their speech. So that person, he's speaking from detachment. He's speaking from a point of wisdom, from steadiness. That's what in the 54th verse we are seeing. Right? So he's giving up. He has no mental concoctions. Right? He's pure. So he's coming from a point where there's no hankering, lamentation. There's no anger. There's no excitement. So nothing of that sort exists in that person who's speaking at that point, right? So that's what is the kind of the simple short answer to it. So yes, and let's look at the verse. O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in a pure transcendental consciousness. And there's this verse from Bhagavatam, affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness has all the good qualities of the great sages. Okay, Prabhupada is quoting a verse. Okay.
Yeah, they're not saying which canto, Bhagavatam. That's what I was looking for.
That is 5:18:12.
Oh,
The verse.
fifth canto.
I can show it to you. Where is that? 5:18:12 is the verse.
So let's just say here.
It's Narad Muni speaking in that fifth canto.
It's not written. Sometimes they give you in a purport.
Yes, Prabhupada does not always refer to the verse. He sometimes just gives like the transliteration of that verse.
Oh, 5:18. Okay.
5:18:12. Yasyasta bhaktir bhagavati kinchana sarver gunas tatra samasati sura. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manothe nasti bhavato bhai. So he's saying that who has devotional service, he gets all the qualities of demigods. On the other hand, a person who has no devotional qualities, he might be perfect in material life, but then he has zero qualities. So that's what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. That's the
from this.
Yeah. So that's why coming to that point of clarity and purity, right? There's no mental concoction. I'm not speaking. So when Prabhupada uses the word mental concoction, now you can think of it in many perspectives. It can mean duplicity, right? Because I speak, I'm duplicitous. I want to present myself as something very nice. I'm very smart, or I'm, something extraordinary. So that's duplicity. So I am not speaking from a point of a self-realized soul. So that speech of mine is still defective. Right? So that's one example. So your mental concoction can be a much broader umbrella phrase that Prabhupada has used. You can have many different things in there. I might be lying. Yeah. All that. Okay, all that's clear. So this first verse, sorry, what is his language, ka bhasha, is answered in this verse 255. So just keep a record if you want to of all that.
Can I ask a question, Prabhuji?
Yes, please go ahead.
It says, but if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, what does engaging in Krishna consciousness look like?
What does engaging in Krishna consciousness look like?
Yeah. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous effort. So what does engaging in Krishna consciousness look like?
So if I just give you a one sentence answer, it means living in a way that keeps Krishna at the center of your thoughts, action, and purpose. Simple as that. So there is no duality, as I was talking about. Your thoughts, your actions, your words, and your purpose, they all match. They're perfectly aligned. There is no artificiality there. Nothing is by force. It's all natural. Like when you remember someone you love. So that's engaging in Krishna consciousness look like. However, at the stage we are in a beginning stage. We don't have that right now. How do we demonstrate our engagement in Krishna consciousness? That comes through our consistency and sincerity. regularity in our process is engagement in Krishna consciousness at the level we are. And that includes chanting, reading, whatever you're doing, offering that to Krishna. I'm not saying it's very straightforward and easy, but start from wherever we are. So that's our level of engagement in Krishna consciousness.
You said thoughts, action, and what? Sorry.
Thoughts, actions, and well, I think I said thoughts, action, and you can put it as words. Okay? Yeah. So what you are thinking, the way you are behaving, and what's coming out of my mouth, they all match 100%. Prabhupada, he used to preach Krishna consciousness. There are practically thousands and thousands of hours of videos, that have been documented on Prabhupada. It was never that Prabhupada in the day was a preacher and at night he would just sit in his corner in the room and, do something other than what he was preaching. He was doing exactly what he was preaching the whole day. If he was telling everybody to chant with Krishna, with focus on Krishna, he was doing that 24/7. So his thoughts, action, and his words were all aligned perfectly. So he was perfect engagement in Krishna consciousness. However, I am not perfect. So what I do is I aspire to come to that level of perfection by being sincere and consistent in my activities on a daily basis, to whatever extent I can be. Did that make sense?
Right, all the devotional services.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I know you put in the message a question about self. What does self-realize mean? So I can just tell you. So self-realize, again, kind of similar thing, right?
Mhm.
Engaging in Krishna consciousness and the self-realized person. So when we engage our thoughts, actions, and words, we become a self-realized person. That's the understanding, right? So we clearly understand who I am, and then I live according to that truth. So a self-realized person is the culmination of engagement in Krishna consciousness. Did I make that connection? Did it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. So we had 54, 55, where Krishna is telling ki how does that person, what is his language? Ka bhasha. Okay. Then let's come to 56. Who's on 56?
Me.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so in 56, Krishna is discussing about the mindset of Sthitapragya person or the thinking process, how he thinks. So basically, he starts by comparing, or Prabhupada basically starts by comparing how a regular Muni and a Sthitadhir Muni would think differently. So Muni is someone who would like agitate his mind or like think do some mental speculation and then come out with some conclusion based on his understanding and stuff. However, so it's full of like thinking and thinking, but then at the same time the sthita pragya is someone who is a muni whose thinking is fixed, meaning he has devotionally exhausted his thinking and has fixed his thinking onto Sri Krishna, and he understands that, um, and he comes out with the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudev is everything, and his mind is fixed on him. And coming on to the second question, like if Krishna is talking about the state of his consciousness, is it internal or external behavior? So I would say, like, here it's both ways. Internally, as I said so far, like, he has fixed his thinking onto the lotus feet of Krishna, but then externally, in such a way, because once he has fixed his thinking, he understands that everything which comes on his way due to the threefold mysteries which we know as Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, or Adhyatmik is how to deal with those things, and that's shows in his behavior. So he takes the if something bad happens to him, he understands that that is probably because he must have done something in his past which is coming across to him, and Lord is very merciful that he is like letting it pass on a minor note. And if he's happy, something good happens to him, he again thanks Lord and thinks that he's not worthy of it, but still it's Lord's mercy that he is getting so much happiness, and he utilizes both the situations in serving the Lord further. So basically, it's a behavioral way of dealing with things also, and internally, mentally, uh, being strong also. So that's how I would describe this. And yeah,
Okay,
basically that's it.
which question is being answered here?
Uh,
How does he speak, sit, walk, language?
think,
Which one?
how does he think?
There's no think in there. It's bhasha, language, prabhashita, speech, asita, sit, vrijita, walk. Which one do you think fits in best? Give it a
Maybe
try.
language.
Okay, okay,
His language.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's more. I mean, there's no. I'm not saying there's a clear-cut distinction in team. There might be some overlaps. Yeah, that's okay. But yes, it's more about language is there, yes, but also his speech, right? So language means what words you're using, and speech is means with what mindset he's speaking that, right? So it's kind of, but then it's okay. So yeah, he's speaking from a where he's free from the detachment, right? He's detached, he's peaceful, he's purified. His speech is coming from that particular platform. His words are calm; they're not driven by likes or dislikes, right? So that's why
Mhm.
fear from attachment, anger, right? It's not like for example, Prabhupada would scream, or not scream, he would shout on his disciples many a times, but he was never angry on them.
Mm.
Prabhupada knew how to use his anger. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's the mind of a self-realized soul, right? That he's not his speech is not coming from a point of anger, or he's not like favoring some of his disciples out of attachment. He might be favoring them because he feels that, oh, they are serving my guru so well, so he becomes attached and loves them. But he's coming from a platform of detachment. So yes, okay, that's good. Good answer.
Thank you.
Um, Next, who's next?
It's me. 57.
57.
Yeah. Yassarvatranapi srayas tatta prapya shubha shubham napi nandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So the first question is,
57. Yes, please go ahead.
sorry.
Like what is the specific quality of the self-realized person being described here?
So quality described is an even-mindedness, samatvam. And
Okay.
yeah, and you mentioned in last class the equanimity, the yogastha from 248. So that's the quality. And
Okay.
then the second question was what?
Is he talking about, so what is the state of consciousness he's talking about? Once again, going back to the four things: language, speech, sit, and walk. Which one is he referring to here? There's a hint in here.
Behavior, the sit.
Sit. Okay. How did you come to that sit thing? What made you think that?
Because it's not that you can show your agitation. It's all internal. You're carrying that turbulence in your mind. So you are not expressing it. You are meditating. It doesn't get swayed. You don't get swayed by the praise or despise. So that's the level of consciousness.
Well, yeah, okay. Let me point out to you. So what the verse is saying, that the person is unaffected by whatever good or evil may obtain. So something coming to me, but then how do I respond to it? I'm not praising it or I'm not despising it. So when we speak, when there has been many instances when the bull in the beginning of the Bhagavatam was being tortured, and by Kali, was being tortured, and then Parikshit Maharaj asked him, who is torturing you? The bull does not tell, because the bull knows that if I say who's torturing me, I also get implicated. So whatever was coming to that bull, he was representing. He's not like literally a bull, but he was representing. But then he said, but the bull doesn't praise or despise the person who was hitting him. So it's more about a speech, right? How you're speaking. So whenever something wrong happens to us, the way we have to take it in a literal sense for us in our lives is, whenever anything good or evil comes to us, we always have to at least try to tell ourselves that whatever is coming to me is Krishna's mercy. Then you will neither praise it nor despise it. You'll be neutral. Hey, everything is Krishna's mercy. Let me take it as that. Right? So any insult that comes our way, any windfall, so I get, let's say I get a check of $10,000 for something I had done a few years ago, and somewhere out of the blue. Yeah, it happens. Everything is Krishna's mercy. So that person has equanimity. He's not going to praise it or not despise it. Oh, this person hurt me, or that group of people was against me. Everybody hates me. Whatnot. So there is neither praising nor despising in the speech, whatever may come to that person. And this is the principle that Lord Brahma brings out in his prayers to Krishna, 10th canto, 14th chapter. He speaks many verses like that. It says, he says, 10:14:8 is the famous one, Tatya Anukampam Samikshamanu. That's the famous verse. But then later on, I think it's the 36th or 38th verse, where again he says, I don't know Krishna. I don't know his actions. Right? I'm just going to glorify him. So that's the mindset that a devotee has when they speak. So it's a speech thing.
So going back to 56, was it also about speech and language?
56, yeah. 56. Where was this? Yeah, 56 and 57 both are about speech. Yes.
Speech. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last question was,
how
what
do you
does
apply?
Teach Arjuna practically?
Arjuna or us, both of them.
Right. How can it improve, overcome doubt and fear? Because if you don't get attached to the result, win or lose the battle, you can just follow Krishna's order with the faith.
Yeah.
So we can deal with all the upheavals of the material world from the purport. We can just have the faith and then don't get attached to them.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. That's right. So our faith in Krishna should not be outcome based. That only if I get this thing, does Krishna exist, or does Krishna love me, or he's a benevolent God. Only then I will believe in Krishna's benevolence, or our faith in Krishna should be trust based. Trust based in the sense that I trust whatever is coming is Krishna's mercy, and he's thinking good about it. So when we come to that platform is where we neither praise what is coming our way, neither we despise what's coming our way, because everything is coming from Krishna. So that's just a mindset to have, not an outcome based. It has to be trust based, our relationship with Krishna. Okay, that was good. Thank you. 58. Who's 58?
It's me.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer your first question. In this verse, Krishna is answering the question how the person sees.
Okay.
And he's talking about the behavior of the self-realized person. So a self-realized person should control all his senses.
Yeah.
So here Prabhupada gave the analogy of a snake charmer. So how he controlled the serpent.
So next one, next question. Krishna is talking about internal consciousness, and then how to stay stable to the internal consciousness by protecting, by detaching from external external senses. And here, Prabhupada gave the analogy of tortoise. Tortoise, the limb bring inside the cell, just like that. We also, our senses should bring and use only for the internal conscious development, and that's what I get it. The last question that Krishna is teaching to Arjuna and all of us, instead of using your senses for the external sense gratification, use for the devotional service to get the fixed, firm consciousness and sit still like a tortoise.
That's good. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we, how to say it, don't unnecessarily expose ourselves. We should not unnecessarily expose ourselves to sense objects. Sometimes people who get little bit of advancement in bhakti, they would say, "Oh, I'm self-realized. I can do whatever I like. I'll go out. I'll hang out with all sorts of people because I'm self-realized." No, don't do that. Don't unnecessarily expose yourself to sense objects to test your spiritual advancement. Everything leaves an impression in our mind. Yesterday, I was out on it was a team building event. They took us to a paint bar in Gaithersburg, Rio area here. And I was sitting there, I was painting, and they just were playing some 90s music. And you'll not be surprised. I was surprised. You'll be surprised. I could remember every song that was going to come. I could remember who sang that song. I actually remembered the videos of those songs. Can you imagine that? 90s. I'm talking about 30 years ago, even more than that. And I still remember all that. And I have not heard those songs, I've not seen those videos for decades now, but I still remember them. That's the extent of impression that's left in our mind by all those things. So even if nothing happens, something happens. Right? So withdraw our senses from external sense objects like a tortoise, only to use them when there is a positive engagement available. Don't unnecessarily expose ourselves to sense objects. Otherwise, our senses will wake up. That's what I saw. My senses woke up. Oh my God, this is the song by that person, this person, this is the way the song is going to go further. This is the words that that person is going to sing. Everything was like, I was just thinking about myself. My God, what's going on there? So yeah, so that's what Krishna is saying here. Yeah, unless you're right, it's talking about the sitting part. Yes, how does he sit? Okay, next, please. Who's next? 59.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So this on verse 59, it's about how the Sthit Pragya sits. It's like a continuation of the 58.
Okay.
So he controls his senses from going towards like sense objects. So because he has the higher taste, so like for new devotees like us, like me, so we can control, we can try to control, but we still have the sense like that you said, you still remember the music, so we still know those things. But to let go of those, if we have a permanent solution where we experience the higher taste, then the lower things will slowly go away. So
Okay.
the self-realized person, he has experienced the higher taste by either directly having the darshan of the Lord, or by seeing his beauty through the scriptures. So this state of consciousness is internal, where outward or material things get pale. And this teaches us to become param drashtva, that like experience the higher taste, experience higher taste. Then we can overcome our like doubts, because we have seen or experienced the absolute truth, or we lose the fearless, because we see that Lord is our protector at every step. And then we will not have attachment for the material things, because we experience the beauty of the Lord through scripture, descriptions from scriptures.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you. Yes, so this verse is, yes, you're right, it's about sitting. And how does it continue from the last verse about the tortoise, where the tortoise is just, he's withdrawing his senses. Okay. So, but then withdrawing is not enough, right? So, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Okay. So, yes, so withdrawing is not enough, as I was saying. That's so Krishna is now giving us a progression. Yes, withdrawing is not enough, because you may withdraw it, but then the taste for sense object will remain. Right? So Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param dishtva nivartate. So by just withdrawing and keeping your senses forcibly under control is not the right way. They also should have a positive engagement. Right? So that's what is being highlighted here. That, but seizing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste. And the higher taste is what bhakti gives us. That's what is being highlighted here. Only bhakti can have that positive enjoyment, where we can have that spiritual nourishment can happen. Otherwise, if we just forcibly hold on to our senses, there will be no taste. Right? So we have to get a higher experience in life. So it's a progression from the last verse, where we are told to restrain our senses. But then even when we are restraining, we should use them for a higher purpose. We need a higher purpose. Okay, so that was good. 60. Who's doing
Hare
60?
Krishna, that is me.
Okay, please go ahead.
So this verse, the senses are so strong and impetus, O Arjuna, they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. In this verse, Krishna is talking about how does a man who is not fixed, how the strong senses can hinder of even of a determined mind. If the person this verse is basically talking about even after years of meditation, if someone is not the senses are just very strong to carry away, even if you're like doing tapasya for like many years. Also it talks about behavior, because this is talking about the person who is acting in a specific way. I don't think it talks about state of consciousness. Also, I think this verse is talking about how.
Don't say I think. Say this is what Krishna is. You just be strong. Just say it. Krishna is backing you up. No worries. So just say, yes, this is what Krishna is saying. This is what it is. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to highlight that.
And what does this teach Arjuna practically? How can it help him overcome doubts? this is in, I would say that it is in relationship to, yeah, I'm not sure about this question.
Okay, no problem. Let's look at it. So this one is also about sitting. So you'll notice that Krishna is going to talk a bit about sitting, because by the word sitting itself, it's a much broader a concept. Means, initially, sitting meant internal restraint, right? So resting the senses in the self. But the sitting can also mean resting in a higher consciousness, right? So, and then sitting can also be that the person's inner awareness is awake, even when outwardly he might be sitting very peacefully and as if nothing is happening. But inside he might be just fully aware and, like bursting with joy and self-awareness. So yes, it continues to talk about sitting aspect. And if you see the flow of this verse, so initially was the tortoise, pull your senses in. Then Krishna says, okay, fine, you pull your senses in, but that's not enough. You have to engage them in a higher taste. Okay, then comes the next one that we're just reading now. But he's saying that when you engage them in a higher taste, you have to have a sense of discrimination. So Arjun can ask, Krishna, how do I know what is higher taste? Yes, discrimination, right? So it's saying that they're so strong that even a man of discrimination who's endeavoring to control them, they can carry away that mind also. So discrimination is necessary. So controlling senses, focusing on higher taste, being discriminate about where you engage yourself. We have to be very cautious. When you go out, you know, again taking you back to my yesterday's escapade with my team about a team building. We went out for lunch. Okay. Now, I was eating a salad, but then they were around me. People were eating, which was not something that I eat, right? So we have to be very discriminated. That hey, no, we don't eat it. And they bring some sort of a, I don't know. They bought some cinnamon bread or something in the beginning, and everybody was asking me, "Oh, Preet, why are you not eating it?" And I just clearly told them, I have no idea. And in my understanding, nearly all the breads have eggs in them. I don't eat eggs. I was very clear with them. So we have to have that strong discrimination, and that only comes when we read the Bhagavad Gita, when we follow the four regulatory principles what Prabhupada has given us. So that gives us that sense of discrimination, and that's what is being talked about. So Krishna is not directly saying that discrimination, but he's highlighting that, right? Never underestimate the power of your senses, right? At the least expected moment, they will catch us and they'll throw us in a dark pit. Like highway robbers, they just jump up onto the road and catch hold of people. So yes, so that's what is being talked about here. Okay. Well, thank you very much. What's next? Who's on 61?
It's me.
Yes, please go ahead.
I'll read first Sanskrit one.
Okay.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So in this word, Krishna is talking about what are the senses. Means from the earlier explanation about Krishna is saying that we have to control our senses like eyes, ears, taste, desire, and temptation. So these are the previous explanation how the senses can distract our mind from being a peaceful person, wisdomful person. So Krishna is giving the solution in this verse that person should control all their senses, keep their mind focused on Krishna consciousness or on Krishna to become truly wise. That's what the simple explanation about this verse Krishna is giving. Like controlling the senses is like you don't have to eat anything what your taste whichever the taste is good, like eating meat and everything is not good, so we have to control on the taste. We have to control on the sense there, and also reacting on anger when anyone provoke us, like we have to control on that. And also the main word or main word in this verse, like it's matpara, to uh, which is described here as to dedicate all our actions and thoughts um, to the supreme, like to the Krishna. Whatever we do, it's basically around the Krishna.
Okay.
So it's just kind of simple explanation of the verse.
And can you think of what is Krishna speaking out here from the four things? Language, speak, sit, walk.
It is for internal. Krishna is talking about internal state in this one.
Well, there is a hint in the verse itself that you read of what he's speaking about. He's using this word, asita. Krishna uses the same word. Sorry, Arjun uses the same word. Kim asita. How does that person sit? So this is a continuation of the sitting aspect, right? So it's in continuation again, because till now, so Krishna was giving a progression. Tortoise need a higher taste, like controlling senses, but need a higher taste. You need a sense of discrimination. And then in this verse, Krishna is telling what happens to that person. He's clearly saying that, where was that verse? Is known as a man of steady intelligence. So here, Krishna, in this verse, it's a multi-level verse, right? So there are multi-levels to it. First level is about practice, restrain senses, keeping them under full control, fixing consciousness. And then the next part is about perfection of that practice, which is you get a steady intelligence. So it's there are stages, right? So there is a stage of control, which is restraining our senses. Then there is a stage of concentration, keeping them under. Can people mute themselves if they're not speaking? Thank you. So there is control, there is concentration, and then lastly, there is conquest, that we have become a man of steady intelligence. So there are three levels to it. Yeah, so this is a sit one, a continuation of the sit one. And Krishna is using the word asita as Arjun used. Okay, no, thank you very much, Rupesh. Let's move ahead. 62, who's 62?
It's me.
Yes, Keshav, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just read the English of the verse first.
Okay.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. So the first question was, what quality is Krishna talking about in this verse? So in this verse, Krishna's talking about what youth should not do, because in the verse, it's Krishna's telling Arjuna that a self-realized person or devotee doesn't contemplate the objects of the senses because they create lust for those objects, meaning desires. And if those desires aren't satisfied, then anger is created due to the frustration of those desires. So Krishna is telling us to cultivate the quality of not contemplating on the senses because that will create attachment for them. And the second question is whether Krishna is talking about an internal state of consciousness or a behavior which is external. But in this verse, Krishna is actually talking about both of them because it's talking about like your consciousness of that is your consciousness is that of being absorbed in whatever objects that your senses are looking for. And then if those and then the lust develops and attachment for those objects. But if those desires aren't fulfilled, then it will manifest as an outward behavior, anger, because like you will get angry. Oh, these desires aren't being satisfied. And the third question is, what does this verse teach Arjuna, and us? How can it help him overcome doubt, fear, or attachment? So in the translation of the verse, it talks about attachment for the sense objects. From such attachment lust develops. So the quality that Krishna wants Arjuna to overcome here is attachment, and and how to overcome it is by like not thinking too much or being fixated on the sense objects, because then you will be even more entrapped in like attachment and lust, and you need to break the attachment by not thinking about the sense objects. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So is Krishna still talking about Kimasita sitting?
Um, no.
Your voice is breaking, Keshav. I can't hear you. What did
I
you
broke
say?
up. Sorry. No, he's not talking. I'm breaking. You're breaking up. Yeah, no, he's not talking about how the self-realized person sits. He's moved on.
So is he talking about how he walks then? That's the next thing.
Well, the qualities were like speaking, and what were the four qualities that he was like sitting and
Language, speak, sit, walk.
so
Let's look at it this way. Okay, I'll give you a scenario. When you contemplate something, so the word is contemplation, right? Dhyayato.
yeah.
It's basically imagination, right? It's imagination getting triggered. I'm just sitting and my mind just runs away to some distant place and thinks of something distant. Either it's good food or probably whatever it comes to me, right? So it's so the imagination. If you're engaged in something, it's not like you're imagining. Imagination only comes when we are sitting idly, right? So the sitting aspect is being strengthened. And again, I'm not saying it's a clear-cut distinction, sit, walk, but I'm just giving you just a way to categorize all these verses. So this is more of a sitting aspect here. So it's an imagination being triggered while the person is sitting idly and thinking about something.
Yeah.
Did that make sense, Kesha?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. So imagination getting triggered. So Krishna is not saying, so just be cautious. Krishna is not talking about seeing sense objects. He's talking about contemplating about them. When you see something, that's fine. You saw something, you forgot about it. However, after seeing, it kind of filters down to your mind and heart, and you start continue to think about it. Oh, that restaurant looked so perfect. Wish I could go there. What would they serve? What would the costs be? Would they have this dish? All that. So that's contemplating. So Krishna is not talking about seeing. He's talking more about contemplating, right? So when we contemplate, dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangas teshu upajayate, sangas sanjayate kama, kama krodho abhijayate. So Krishna is giving a progression. Contemplation, what that leads to is sanga, attraction. And what does attraction lead to? Is obsession. We get obsessed about that thing. And when we don't get it, we become irritated. Krodha comes, right? So our indulgence in sense gratification, it steals away our higher taste, which Krishna talked about earlier. It takes away the power to discriminate. That steady intelligence is lost. So Krishna is just giving that progression. Just keep these verses in mind. Tortoise pulls in the senses. Krishna says, "No, not enough. You need higher taste." However, higher taste, you have the sense of discrimination to know what is higher taste. That then, when you have that discrimination, you can attain a steady state of intelligence. Then Krishna might think, oh, Arjun might ask me, hey, but how do I get distracted? So then Krishna is telling him, yes, you can fall off that position of steady intelligence because of this XYZ things happening, beginning from the phase of dhyayato, contemplation. So I'm just connecting all the verses about sit together. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'll take a pause here. Anybody else has any thoughts, comments, anything that you want to bring up or ask or say?
Probably this is one of the most important shlokas in Bhagavad Gita because it gives the root cause of all our problems.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. And as Prabhupada has given us, we can avoid right in the beginning, the dhyayato aspect. by using everything in Krishna's service. And once again, we all are neophytes, we are beginners. We won't have that perfect state that, oh, everything for Krishna. I'll forget about everything else. No, but then do whatever you can with whatever you have. Whatever you can engage in Krishna's service. Yeah, it might be my family is not favorable. I cannot engage my family. Fine, no problem. You engage yourself. I cannot go to service every day. Fine. Go on the weekend. Go for an hour if you can. And that itself is avoiding dhyato, avoiding contemplation on something material. You're snatching away an hour, a day, whatever, and engaging that in Krishna's service. So yes, so that's a good thing. And reading Prabhupada's purports makes it clear for us. Right? So that's something we have to keep in mind. I'm repeating that again and again for you. If you just read the Bhagavad Gita every day for the rest of your life, and you just follow the four regulatory principles Prabhupada has given us and chant, Prabhupada will come and take you back to God. Right? That's what Prabhupada's promise was to his disciples and to his grand disciples and to all the people who come in the future. So yes, I just want to really that you get your bang for your buck, enhance your quality of life and consciousness, read Bhagavad Gita every day. One purport, read every day, at least one purport. You can do more, do more. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Next verse, 64. Who's doing 64?
63rd, Prabhuji. 63.
Oh, sorry, 63. Yes, go ahead.
Right. So this verse is Prabhuji continuation of the previous verse, and in this verse the specific quality is Yukta Vairagya, which means a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. And in this verse Srila Prabhupada is giving example of an impersonalist, and so Prabhupada is saying he thinks that Krishna, being impersonal, cannot eat, and he tries to avoid all the good eatables. But a devotee knows that Krishna eats everything that is offered with devotion. And so after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee accepts the remnants, that is prasadam, and thus everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of a downfall. And the second one, so the answer to the second is like in the beginning it is internal, as it begins from the contemplation on the sense objects, which leads to attachment, and then developed into lust, and then when lust is unfulfilled, and then anger arises. The anger is external expression, and that leads to delusion, bewilderment of memory, losing intelligence, ultimately falling down into the material ocean, that is cycle of birth and death. And the third is so this verse teaches us about how to engage our senses, like we should engage our senses in Krishna consciousness and do not unnecessarily contemplate on the sense objects. And it also teaches us that how can we prevent ourselves from falling down into the cycle of birth and death. And third is use everything in the service of Krishna consciousness, that is Yukta Vairagya principle. And the last thing is Falgu Vairagya can lead to fall down because of the lack of positive engagement. Sorry, yes.
Okay. Yes, this is a continuation of the last word we read, right? Dhyato Vishan Pumsam, Sangas Teshu Vyate, Sangas Sanjayate, Kama Krodho Vijayate. Or what happens when one gets angry? Delusion. Delusion leading to bewilderment, bewilderment leading to loss of intelligence. You all might have seen sometimes when you're really angry, you just stop thinking. And we do things that we regret later on. And that's the progression Krishna is highlighting here. Prabhupada talks about this verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and there is another verse that goes before that, Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatharam Upenjita Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Uchyate. That's what Maji is referring to, Yuktam Vairagya. So, and here Falgu Vairagya is being talked about. So Falgu Vairagya means there's a river Falgu in Bihar, and the reason it's called Falgu, Falgu means falls. So on top, it does not look like a river, it just looks like sand. But just an inch below that, there is water flowing. So similarly, a Falgu Vairagya, a person who's falsely showing his detachment, Vairagya, means that outwardly that person is showing vairagya, but down deep he's thinking about all whatever worldly things he can. So that's the way we want to avoid that. So yes, this is continuation of the last verse that we read. Yes. So okay. So yes. So remember this progression: contemplation, attraction, lust, anger, delusion. After delusion comes what was that word? I forgot. Delusion,
Bewilderment of mind,
bewilderment. Yeah, and then intelligence
loss
is
of
lost, and then falls into the material pool. Right. So lost intelligence means we make a fool of ourselves, and then there is destruction. Everything is lost. Right. So this question is, uh, how does he restrain his senses and mentality? Right. So he uses his senses only for Krishna's service. Based on the higher taste, he can control his senses. If mind is not on Krishna, then that process of fall down will happen all the way from contemplation to destruction, falling down into the material pool. Okay, that's good. Next verse, who's doing next? Which is 64.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
so in this verse, Krishna is telling like how does a Sthita Pragya engage his senses in the service of Krishna? Like how does he walk? So that as per the translation, like when a person is free from rag or attachment and is able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom, he can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So artificially trying to control the senses is not going to help unless because it's going to fail because it's not transcendently from inside. So it is very important to have a higher taste, and only when we attain the higher taste, we can engage our sense in the service of Krishna. And as for the question, like what specific quality of behavior a self-realized person is being described. So from the given passage, the quality that the self-realized person has true sense control, and he has a freedom from likes and dislikes. He does whatever is good for Krishna, whatever Krishna likes. Even though he does not like a thing, he will not do because it is not liked by the Krishna. And they does not externally restrain from senses, do whatever is good for Krishna, and they engage positively in Krishna conscious, and they show real control. And they also like so like their only motivation is that does Krishna want this or not, and this makes their action transcendental and fully controlled. And even if they are doing something externally which look materialistic, like traveling or eating, they or cooking, they do whatever, they keep Krishna in the center, they always think about Krishna. So internally it's always Krishna consciousness. And your question is Krishna talking about internal consciousness or external behavior? So it's primarily it's internal consciousness because it's extremely through purified action, and the devotees act only as far as Krishna's will, and they are totally completely free from the attraction and aversion. Whatever they do, they for only for Krishna. And the third question, like, what does this teach, or practically? Is like we don't have to control everything by force. We have just need to go with the flow, and everything, and we have to offer everything to Krishna. And here, like Arjuna is trying to avoid fighting by suppressing his duty due to attachment to his family. So Krishna is teaches like act for me and not for yourself. Whatever you're doing for me. So if you act for me, if you serve for me, there will not be any sin. So here Arjuna just has to satisfy Krishna, and if in that case, if we satisfy Krishna, he will not fear sin, and he will not have any loss, and he will not have any fear of killing his relatives. So we can remove attachment when we do service for the Krishna. That's that's
Okay.
all for this.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. So so now from here. So from this verse to the last, it's all about how the person, what was the last one? The walks part, right? How does he walk?
Yes.
Kim Vajeta Kim. So there's an important, this phrase is very important, regulative principles of freedom. I just will give a couple of thoughts on that. So what it indicates is that in this world, when we talk of regulation, it looks like we are being deprived of something. But what Krishna is saying, regulative principles, they actually lead us to freedom, right? So how does it lead to freedom? So in short, real freedom comes from living with discipline, not from doing whatever we feel like. And that's what Prabhupada has translated that phrase to, regulated principles of freedom. Our senses naturally pull us toward things we like, away from the things we dislike. This creates bondage. It does not create freedom. So yes, we can use our senses, but we regulate them. We should not let our senses hijack our intelligence. Example of regulation, as we all do, eating healthy, moderation, sleeping properly, speaking truthfully, associating with the right kind of people, right? Choosing a duty rather than impulse. Oh, I would just feel like doing this today. Forget about everything. No. Now, the word regulation, so freedom, right? So isn't regulative restrictive? Yes. The secret is that regulation leads to freedom because it frees us from the tyranny of our mind and senses. When our senses are uncontrolled, we chase pleasures. Our peace depends on external circumstances. We react impulsively. We become addicted to things and we suffer disappointment, anxiety, frustration. And that all comes from a slavery of our impulses. But when our senses are regulated, that is real freedom. We choose action, not our senses. No, I have to go do service in the temple, or I have to go for book distribution, whatever it may be. Right? Then happiness becomes internal. It's not dependent on anything else. And then we act with clarity and with a spiritual purpose. So Krishna is saying a person who uses senses in a regulated, Krishna conscious way, not suppressing them, indulging them, that person becomes peaceful and receives mercy. Right? That's what the whole concept is. Thank you. Okay, what is 65? Who's doing 65?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Being with confusion, I will read that first. So, for one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So, Prabhuji, in this verse, Krishna is speaking about the inner consciousness, and one thing, and taking the lessons from the previous verses, and concluding here that the person who is situated in Krishna consciousness is not affected by threefold miseries. So, because we have seen that in the previous verses, if a person is constantly keeping Krishna in center, he will always take shelter of Krishna in all the senses, and if anything wrong comes to him, he will think, or he will think of his misdeed. It's the action of his misdeed. If anything comes good, so he will think that Krishna is blessing him or reducing his reactions. So it never takes or takes anything happen in his life as a good or bad. So in this consciousness, so once intelligence is situated, intelligence is soon well established. So by saying well established, what I think what Krishna is trying to say is that
Krishna never tries to say. Krishna
okay,
says.
Krishna is saying that.
just be. Krishna is never trying to say it. Prabhupada never tries to say it. He just says it. I try to understand it. I might not understand it, but Prabhupada and Krishna, they always say it. Sorry,
Right.
just wanted to, because it makes a difference. If we say this, like, oh, Krishna is trying to say, the other person might think, oh, you also don't know what Krishna is saying. We don't want to give that picture. We know what Krishna is saying. Prabhupada has made it clear for us. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good that I'm trying to get the point. What Krishna is trying to say is that so well established for me means the person with which do not have any no distortion in the emotions, and he is well conviction of his dharma, like duties, what he has to do, and he is unshakable of his focus on the Krishna. So, and to answer the first question, if I come to this, so there is no purport in this. So, taking all the learning from the previous verses, so the quality which is described here is about inner satisfaction, first of all, which is happiness doesn't depend on the external factors, which we have seen, and freedom from all type of agitation, and mental clarity. So intelligence become well established. Those are the couple of points which I take away from here. And here Krishna is explaining about the consciousness part of it. So not the external behavior. And I'm not very sure which part of it. It can be language, or you said from here 64th verse, it's the walk part of it's a walk, right? So that's it's still I'm trying to understand how it is walk. And the third question was how it will help Arjuna practically to overcome doubt, fear, and attachment. So Arjuna was paralyzed with the fear and grief and attachment to family and reputation. So he understand from this teaching that if his mind is fixed, he can perform his duty without any attachment. Yeah, that's my takeaway.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so it's Krishna is saying that intelligence is soon well established, right? As you were mentioning, initially we engage our intelligence, right? So we engage our intelligence becomes stronger, and later when we experience that strength of my intelligence, then my buddhi becomes fixed. So there's a progression there. So intelligence, basically, what does intelligence mean? It simply means the practice of remembering Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra and acting appropriately. Material intelligence is material information processing capacity. That's what. So material intelligence means that I'm just processing the whatever information I'm getting through the mind, right? So, but then the Vrajeta word, which is literally translated as walk, it means is that the question is implying that how does the person engage his senses? So while engaging his senses, that person does it with regulations and religious principles. And what is the outcome? When that person does it that way, his intelligence becomes well established. So yes, so the walk part, which is 254 to the last verse, walking basically is implying that how does he engage his senses, right? So that's something there.
Could you repeat what intelligence was? Remembering Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, and what was the last sentence? Sorry.
What did I say? Engage material intelligence.
No, intelligence.
Oh, intelligence. So intelligence, as I was saying, it means when we means the practice of remembering Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra and acting appropriately.
Acting appropriately. Okay.
Yes, that's intelligence. Material intelligence is just so we get so much information through mind. So it becomes our material intelligence is just a processing capacity. Okay, it's processing what all the information is coming. But spiritual intelligence means that whatever we are getting from the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we are able to bring it into our mind, process it, and we can act accordingly. That is why this Vrajeta, that how do I act now that I have I have got this information. Now, how am I engaging that senses based on these regulation and religious principles, which I have, which I have learned. That's the way to understand it. Okay, 66. Who's doing 66?
Yeah, me, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I'll
Krishna.
read I'll do the Sanskrit sloka first and then the translation. Second. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभाव्यतः शान्तिरशान्तस्य कूटस्थुखम्. Translation: one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? I think this is still again in the walk portion of the how does the quality of the. So coming to your first question, what specific quality or behavior of a self-realized person is being described? Here it talks about the steadiness of the mind and the intelligence, that when it is connected to Krishna, it is linked to Krishna. That's the yukta. And Prabhupada here emphasizes that a self-realized person is consistently connected to Krishna, not agitated by desires, fixed in spiritual understanding, peaceful because the mind is controlled and purified. And the contrast to this is, if a person is not self-realized, then they are disconnected from Krishna, not controlled by mental speculation. They are disturbed by what a self-realized person is not. This was it. So a self-realized person is not disconnected from Krishna. He's not controlled by mental speculation, not disturbed by unlimited desires, and he's not lacking inner peace. So the quality here is, a self-realized person has to be peaceful, is a peaceful and steady intelligence, because their consciousness is fixed on Krishna. So Krishna is like the anchor for them, to help them through as they walk through the circumstances in life. And then the second one is Krishna talking about the state of consciousness, basically whether it's internal or external expression. It is primarily internal consciousness, but it is also directly linked to external behavior. Ayuktasya, one not connected to Krishna, refers to inner disconnection to consciousness. And that inner disconnection is that causes unsteady intelligence, lack of focus, disturbances, mental agitation. And Prabhupada explains that peace and happiness originate internally from yoga, not external morality or performance. So therefore, consciousness determines action, which is inner disconnection causes external agitation and unhappiness, but inner connection, it gives you external stability, peace, and clarity. So Krishna is describing that the inner foundation, but showing its direct effect on our outer life. Third is practical teaching. How does this verse help Arjuna and us overcome doubt, fear, or attachment? It teaches that peace comes only from connecting consciousness to Krishna. And Prabhupada also stresses that no amount of material planning, mental speculation, external renunciation, philosophical debate can give us peace unless the heart is connected to Krishna. So this helps Arjuna because his fear and confusion arise from disconnection from Krishna, thinking he's the doer. Second is it shows that disturbed intelligence comes from attachment and duality, because Arjuna was attached to family, afraid of sin, confused about duty. So therefore, Krishna explains that disconnected intelligence, you cannot make the correct decisions. And it teaches him, if you connect to me, your mind will become clear and peaceful, and then you can act decisively. And it also gives a practical path, cultivate Krishna consciousness to steady the mind. And what does this mean for us? It means chanting, hearing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, acting in service, regulating senses, offering our work to Krishna. So these practices make our mind peaceful, and it gives us confidence, courage, clarity, relief from anxiety, and freedom from indecision. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I noticed we are already on time. We're at 8:32. We missed all the S and the V. All devotees' names starting with S and V. We missed that. We'll continue that next week. We'll finish it off and then we'll start chapter 3 next week. I just wanted to take a minute to just about this one. The Prabhupada says in here a very beautiful sentence: disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. That's a very important sentence Prabhupada is saying, right? Because if you look at it, most mental disturbances, they come from one root problem. Excuse me. We don't know clearly what we are ultimately trying to achieve in life. That's the root cause of all our mental disturbances. We don't know what we are looking for. Yes, Sanvi.
Ramsey, I was wondering if I could say 2 words to like freshen my mind. Can I? I'm next.
We are already at 8:33. If you think you want to do it, why don't you just write it down and send it in the group? Is that okay? Just write the answer in the WhatsApp group if you want to do it.
Wait, I won't go next time?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought you wanted to go today. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're already at 8:33. I don't want to keep the devotees holding. If you feel that it's fresh in your mind, you want to do it today, I would suggest you just write it in the WhatsApp group. But if you can hold it on to the next week, that would be great too. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I said okay. Wait, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, let me just finish this thought. This about ultimate goal, right? So all our disturbances, mental disturbances, are because we don't know what we are trying to achieve in life. And when there is no ultimate goal, small things look very big. Somebody insults me, I get disturbed. A delay of a bus or a train or a flight, that annoys me. A small failure, it depresses me. And a small success, it excites me a lot. So that is why these small things become my whole world if I don't have a bigger ultimate goal, right? When the goal is unclear, the mind keeps guessing. Should I do this? Should I do that? Will this make me happy or this will make me sad? Am I missing out on something? There is restlessness and anxiety. But a clear ultimate goal, it gives direction to our activities, right? That's what Prabhupada means here when he says that it's because of a lack of an ultimate disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal, right? Without an ultimate goal, all our desires are competing. Pleasure, praise, position, comfort. We begin to chase all these things. And these desires conflict with each other. But with an ultimate goal, our desires get aligned. They become simple, priorities become clear, expectations reduce, decisions get easier. Okay.
Just a quick question. So if you are sure that you want to be in Krishna consciousness, but your ultimate goal is not clear. You want to be a lecturer, you want to be a cook, you want to be a book distributor, all of those different functions, you're not clear. Sometimes you just don't know exactly what is that you want visually, but you kept practicing and you get to where it might lead you. You know, sometimes people know exactly you want that position, you want to be a singer on that stage, and you work for whole life to get there. But sometimes you don't know exactly what it is that you want, but you continue doing what you felt that was right for that moment, not in necessarily doing like a sense gratification.
Yeah. So I'll answer. So you don't have to decide right now. One thing, your identity in bhakti, it reveals itself gradually to you. Most devotees don't immediately know, am I meant to cook for Krishna? Am I meant to be a kirtaniya, preacher, manager, writer, whoever? Nobody knows, right? The things become clear as our heart becomes more and more purified. Keep that in mind. More importantly, Krishna bhakti is not about a role. It's about a mood. Krishna is not waiting for you to figure out or whether you want to sing for him or cook for him. Krishna says, I want to, you use your mood should be, Krishna, I want to serve you. Please guide me. How should I do that? The attitude is more important than any specific activity. Also, Your role can change at any time of your life. Many devotees experience a cooking phase, kirtan phase, book distribution phase, leadership phase. People have all those roles. Your bottom line should be, I want to serve Krishna. Krishna, now you choose where you want to put it. Okay? So the ultimate goal is not cooking, kirtaniya, book distributor. It's about remembrance. That is your ultimate goal. Did that make sense?
Yes, that's very clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I went over by 7 minutes. I'll finish off now. We'll continue with Sanvi next week, and then we'll start the third chapter. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much for all your efforts.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank